Welcome, viewers, to a special YouTube-only edition of the Comics Community Podcast, where we'll be discussing all the comics-related film and television news from San Diego Comic-Con 2016. So we'll start with Marvel Netflix. They released a new full-length trailer for the Luke Cage coming out of Comic-Con. The trailer features Luke Cage smashing his way through a gang of men in a Daredevil-like hallway fight scene.
That was just fun to watch. That was a
Yeah.
blast.
It's pretty fun, like, to see that spin, because Daredevil has to really struggle, and Luke Cage does not, because he's Power Man, right? But aside from all that fun action, it also featured a verbal confrontation between Luke Cage and a gangster known as Cornell Cottonmouth Stokes, where Cage seemed to be stepping up and taking on the mantle of the hero of Harlem. So Luke Cage stars Mike Coulter. It's set to air September 30th. What do you guys think of the trailer? What do you guys think of Luke Cage taking on this new identity as, hero of Harlem? All that entails. There's a lot of, cultural significance to Harlem. So what are you guys' general thoughts on Luke Cage?
Love the trailer. Was glad to see. Well, was glad when the original whole Netflix deal was announced that was going to be one of the shows. Obviously, all of those characters are related in the comics, and so it's nice to see what the past has been related, and maybe thought of as B-level characters coming to the spotlight in kind of an interesting way. I think they're still B-level characters, but now people love them more. Mm-hmm. It's nice to see him out on his own. I think I read somewhere, though now I'm questioning myself, that this series will actually predate his appearance in Jessica Jones, although having seen the trailer, it makes me wonder how he could be doing some of those things and not be known by the time Jessica Jones rolls around. Did you hear something similar?
No, I haven't heard that at all.
Okay. And it makes me look forward to the dynamic between him and Danny Rand that we have coming. Makes me wonder if Danny Rand will make a first appearance in Luke Cage.
They both seem to really enjoy punching through walls, so that's apparently a thing. But from what I've seen in the trailer, I really like the fact that they're not, shying away from, I don't want to say making the character a little bit different, but, my association with Luke Cage has always been, a little bit, I want to say, he's wears very vibrant colors, and he says stuff like "Sweet Christmas." It's not completely serious. It's very comic booky and very Marvel, but it seems like especially what they're doing with the Netflix series is they're not afraid to make it a little bit more realistic and a little bit more dark, and I think that does really well for a compelling TV show. So I love the direction that they're taking it so far, and it just looks like it's going to be a fun show to watch.
And I think it's true to what Hell's Kitchen is.
Yeah, I think you're both definitely right about that. The director has come out and said, he's definitely not going to shy away from it. I think one of his quotes was, at this point in what's going on in America, we kind of need a black bulletproof superhero. Not to make light of the situation, but it's something that I think can speak to a different audience than a lot of Marvel movies. And he even talked about the music that's going to be involved and the different influences. He called it the Wu-Tangification of the Marvel Universe. So I think it'll just be interesting to see those new and different voices. And I'm excited for Misty Knight. They announced that she's going to be in there. She's going to be a detective, like an undercover detective. I don't know where that's going to fit in the plot. I also like Cottonmouth coming in, using his original origin of like a street level hood. And I wonder if he's going to evolve kind of like the Kingpin, where the Kingpin started out as just this weird business guy who, evolves into the Kingpin we know. And I wonder if this Cottonmouth is going to evolve into sort of the Serpent Society type of supervillain. I think that'll be interesting. So a lot of good stuff going on there with Luke Cage. And Phil, you mentioned Danny Rand. So next up, we'll look at the teaser for Iron Fist. It introduced Finn Jones of Game of Thrones stardom as martial arts master Danny Rand. The teaser opens with a young Danny Rand surviving a plane crash and being rescued by two robed monks. The footage then shifts to modern-day Manhattan, shows a now adult Danny walking barefoot and disheveled through the streets before being restrained in a hospital bed. And the whole montage ends, as Raphael alluded to, with him busting down a concrete wall, presumably with one punch from his iron fists. So, what do you guys think of the teaser? What are your thoughts on bringing the Iron Fist to Marvel Netflix? Who wants to go first?
This is a character I know little about. I've got Matt Fraction's a couple years ago, well, more than that, back in '09, did the Immortal Iron Fist, and that got good reviews. I've had that in my unread stack for a long time, though, and that's as close as I've come to that character. I think, given the trailer, though, I thought it was interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing how that character fits into the Netflix Marvel Universe. But as we know, obviously, he's already established with Power Man. But this is going to be one of those examples where I'm looking forward to, my knowledge of this character, I guess, coming from television. As we talk about these, I guess there are some, there's obviously some characters that I prefer. I'm going to keep these in the books. I want to read them. I'm going to read their stories. But there's just so many books out there, you can't read them all. So some characters I've just relegated to say, all I'm going to know about this guy is whatever's on this TV show, be it S.H.I.E.L.D. or a Netflix show or whatever. And he's one of those for now.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. Raphael?
I swore my loyalty to House Tyrell, so I have to like the show.
Okay.
But from the trailer, you don't exactly get too much. Like, it's definitely not as I want to say telling as like the Luke Cage trailer and everything like that, but still interesting. I guess I don't know too much about his origin story to really, I guess, get interested in the fact that he's like restrained and like put in, I guess, like a psychiatric ward maybe. Like I never knew that was actually ever part of the character of the books. Like I'm aware of like the the plane crash and he gets taken in by like the monks and stuff like that. But other than that, he's just kind of a blank slate for me. So I think it'll be interesting to have a little bit of that filled in. But until then, I guess I can only just wait for more information.
Well, it is just a teaser, so you're right. It didn't really give much information. Real simple backstory looks like. They might even do it like Batman Begins style, where it's just quick run through of who this Batman guy is or who this Iron Fist guy is. But in recent incarnations, he has been kind of a damaged character, so it'll be interesting to see them bring that to the Marvel Netflix. That's a good place for damaged characters, I think, is Netflix. All right, so speaking of team-ups, we'll go with the second teaser trailer from Netflix, which was the Defenders teaser. Now, this was a very short teaser. It featured mostly clips from Daredevil Season 2 and Jessica Jones Season 1, interspersed with this sort of strange collage that eventually formed the Defenders logo. And the only real one new element of the teaser was a voice that sounded a lot like Daredevil's mentor Stick, saying, "The four of you think you can save the city, you can barely save yourselves." So what are your thoughts on this short teaser and the thoughts of the Defenders coming to Marvel Netflix as sort of like a street-level Avengers?
Yeah, that was Scott Glenn. I didn't miss that. I don't know, really not much to go on. I just think it makes sense, which is kind of the reason I've kind of bought into this Netflix thing from the beginning, is with the Defenders thing out there, kind of like a carrot on the stick. You know that they have some long-range plans, and I like that they're going to introduce us all of these characters beforehand, so that it'll be more interesting to see them, how they all interact once they're all gathered together. I'm looking forward to it. Does that trailer make me look more forward to it? No. Did it turn me off? No. It's just a teaser, just like, hey, we're not forgetting about this, so that's a good thing.
I thought that it was, I guess I want to say, interesting that they kind of put it together from old clips. Like, there's no new information, stuff like that. It's kind of like Phil said, it's really just there, to act as a teaser and get you excited about the fact that they haven't forgotten about it and that it's going to be a thing. But at the same time, I understand that, like, by making it and showing it, like, they're really committing to it, which is also nice to see. I was under the impression that the Punisher was in the Defenders, which obviously means I don't really read Defenders, but I'm a little disappointed about that. But Yeah, I'll still check it out. It's going to be cool to see all those characters interact, and it's like with the Avengers films where you have like the payoff that if you watch all the other shows, it's like a much more like enriched experience. So I'll still be interested to check it out. I think it'll be fun. Street level Avengers. I think you can't really go wrong with that.
Yeah, it definitely sounds good. The teaser did show a quick Punisher little snippet. It showed Elektra a little bit, so I think they'll be there. But I don't know. They definitely won't be defenders. They'll just be wild cards, I think. But I'm excited because it gives that sort of Heroes for Hire vibe. I was a big fan of that when Power Man and Iron Fist would hook up with Misty Knight and some other superheroes and do their little Hero for Hire action. So it'll be interesting how they weave elements of that in. We've got Hellcat hanging around somewhere in the Jessica Jones universe.
That's right.
So we
And
don't know.
Jessica Jones just made an appearance in Hellcat too, by the way. Those two issues.
So it'll be interesting how they, like you guys said, tie all those loose ends together and see what they're building up to.
And it's not on our agenda today, so obviously there wasn't anything really related to it. But in a sense, I think it's telling, too, how there was no Punisher news at Comic-Con, which would, to me, suggest how far off it still really is. They've got all these other properties they've got to get out first.
Yeah, there was just a brief appearance by John Barenthal saying, "Thanks, everybody, I'm the Punisher, see you later," was basically. But not, like you said, no news. So the very last bit of Netflix news is Marvel executive Joe Quesada announcing that season 3 of Daredevil has been greenlit, most likely for the spring of 2018. I don't think there's much to say here except that, this is, I think, expected by everyone, don't you think?
Yeah, I think also that was kind of grouped in with a few others too. We weren't going to see any Jessica Jones either until at least 2018 as well.
Yeah, the date hurts me, but I will wait patiently, and I'll just put myself in cryostasis again or something. So
Okay. Just wake you up for the Defenders and then put you back to sleep. All right, so let's switch gears to traditional television away from Netflix. ABC's Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. announced that Ghost Rider will be featured in this upcoming season, and then it will be the Robbie Reyes version of the character who was introduced in the all-new Ghost Rider comic book series from 2014. So your thoughts on Robbie Reyes as Ghost Rider and bringing such a crazy character to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? Go.
Well, given Raphael's excitement over there in that other camera, I only have one thing to say, really, is that I just hope they do it right, effects-wise.
Yeah.
That's all. That'd be a character that they could, if they're not careful, they could make look hokey, and it would just throw that out the window. So.
Yeah, especially on a TV budget.
Yeah, I know. That's my only concern. Maybe they'll just show a lot of him when he's not Ghost Rider,
I don't know if any of the listeners or if you guys would know this, but I'm kind of a big fan of all new Ghost Rider. I kind of read a whole bunch of stuff and I got all the comics, but I'm incredibly excited. Not just because it's a comic that I read and really enjoyed, but because we actually get like a Latino superhero in the Marvel Universe, which up to this point I don't think we really had too much exposure with. That and after Secret Wars, we lost all new Ghost Rider, kind of in like the big shift of stuff, and the sense that he hasn't been presented in anything. So it's just cool to know that they haven't forgotten about that character. And even if he's just there for like an instant, even if they're just kind of like teasing him, I'm not expecting like a solo show or anything. I'm just really happy that maybe he'll get a chance to come back in the comic books. There was actually a video post from a Comic-Con where they revealed his muscle car. And it's like a older Dodge Charger, and it just looks so cool, and everything about it I think is going to be great. They're talking about casting the character, but I don't think they've really confirmed anyone just yet, but I'm incredibly excited for this.
Yeah, I saw that footage of the car, and you're right, it does look pretty awesome. It's just like the comic book where it's got the big turbocharger on top. It's the black, like, 70s Dodge Charger. It's pretty sweet.
And it's really great that they went with a new character instead of like Johnny Blaze or Danny Ketch, because both the movies and the comic books have ruined those characters. I love those characters and I've read all of them, and I still think that they've completely just ruined Ghost Rider. So you really do have to start from scratch at this point.
Sounds good. Sounds like something to definitely look forward to. So let's go on to our final bit of Marvel television news from Comic-Con, and that was a trailer for FX's mutant-centric TV drama Legion, based on a somewhat obscure character from the X-Men comic books of the same name. Legion focuses on a character named David Haller, an incredibly powerful mutant who doesn't realize that the things he sees, hears, and does are actually real. David believes that he's going insane, and in the trailer he's seeking help from a mysterious organization that seems to know more about David's condition than they're admitting. So this scene, I don't know if you've seen the trailer, but it's very strange. There's a lot of, to go back to that Inception thing, a lot of what's real, what's not real, who's on this side, who's on that side. But the interesting thing about the trailer is they do use the M word, mutant. You hear someone say, this guy could be the most powerful mutant we've ever seen. So what are your feelings on this trailer? Are you happy to see some mutant representation on television after they've been sort of inhuman washed in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? What are your thoughts on Legion?
I had never heard of the character, saw the trailer, instantly want to watch it. It looked really exciting and right up my alley. I'm here on the IMDb page, though, and I'm disappointed to see that they're billing it as simply a 2017 TV movie. I was, maybe if the ratings are good, it'll turn into a series. Who knows? But I am interested also to see, and I don't remember seeing her in the trailer itself, Aubrey Plaza is also in it. They have a whole list of, it looks like it's fully cast. She's the one that stands out to me the most. Anyway, I'm all in. Know nothing about it. Trailer made me want to experience more.
Okay, Raphael?
This would be a good time to have Randy on the podcast because if you're familiar, he reads X-Men, and my understanding of the character is very limited because I've only seen him in certain aspects, but Legion, if I remember correctly, is the son of Charles Xavier, and he's also the catalyst for a lot of the events of, like, I can't remember what event it was, but he basically goes into the future and screws everything up, or he goes into the past and screws everything up. From my understanding, he's like an Omega-level mutant, and his power is basically he has all the powers he wants, but each power manifests in, like, a different personality. So he's not always himself. Like, he has other personalities with other power sets, and those kind of, like, grow in time and whatnot. So he's a very complex and confusing character. But oddly enough, I think he's one of the characters that I've heard people really ask for a TV show about, which, I never thought would actually happen, so I'm incredibly surprised and pleased to hear that they're making a TV show. I don't know what to make from the trailers. I like the dance number, so if there's more of that, I'll be right on board. But other than that, I guess I'm just kind of hanging in here and, waiting to see where it kind of goes in terms of development.
Yeah, I'm with you guys on this one. I don't know much about the character. This is definitely a Randy expertise. We need an X-Men person on this podcast. But yeah, the trailer looks interesting. It looks much more psychological than any comic book show we've seen before. So it'll just be interesting to see something new. Be interesting to see something from Fox. They've been trying to expand the whole X-Men side of things with Deadpool. And they've been trying to get some other movies going. The Wolverine movies haven't been that great. The X-Men movies have been up and down. So maybe if they bring some of this to television, it can help them out. All right, so I think that wraps up Marvel.